Hello everyone and welcome to FreeCAD tutorials. In this tutorial we explain how to engrave the text and how to extrude the text from a surface. Over here you can see a demo example. Namely, I created a simple cube shown over here, and on top of this cube, for illustration purposes, I engraved this text over here, and moreover I extruded the text from the top of the surface. Later on, you can 3D print this part, or you can even send it to, for example, a CNC machine such as mill. You can generate G code and you can create something similar. So let's immediately start. Once you open FreeCAD, click on File and then click on New. Then let's create our part by clicking on Part Design, and let's create a body. Over here in the body, click on the body and click over here to create a sketch. Select the XY plane and click on OK. Let's create a simple rectangle. Click here and click on Center Rectangle. Click here and draw a rectangle. Here we are not going to constrain this sketch in order to save time. However, in practice, always constrain sketches. Click on Close and let's extrude this, or let's pad this by clicking on Sketch. Click here and let's go with, for example, 15 over here. Our next task is to define the text on this surface that will be used for extruding and for engraving. So let's start immediately. To do that, you need to click here and you need to open this draft menu. Inside of this draft menu, you need to click on this button. This button will create shape from text. So let's start. Click here and then over here specify this corner of the cube. And over here specify the distance to be the height of the cube. Here we will type text. We will do this later on, and later on we will adjust the height of the text, or actually the font of the height of the font of the text. Here you need to select the font. Click here, then over here go to your computer, go to C, then go to Windows, and then over here search for fonts folder. Namely, every Windows folder has a fonts folder, and over here select the font you like. You can also visualize fonts in some other program. However, I'm going to use Times BDF. This is Times font, which has bold formatting, and click on OK. And over here, let's type some text, hello, and let's do this. And then let's click on OK, and you can see over here the text will appear. Next, let's move this text. There are several ways to do that. You can simply click on this shape string and you can modify its distance. For example, you can translate it in X direction. You can simply do it like this. And let's click on OK to see what will happen. Let's do it furthermore. To show you how to do it in another way, click here on Move, and you can simply move this text. And you will be moving it inside of the plane and put it over here. And then click on just click, and that's it. So this is our first text. Let's create the second text. So let's repeat the procedure. Click on body, then click over here, and then let's do the same thing. Let's click over here. Let's specify Z to be 15. Then let's type something. How are you? And then let's do this. Let's specify the height to be, for example, 7. And let's select the font file. You can select some other font. So let's select this font and let's click open over here and let's click OK. And here's text. Next, let's move this text. We can simply click over here on move and we can move it over here. That's it. Let's click here and that's it. In the sequel, I'm going to extrude how are you, and then I'm going to engrave hello. So let's learn how to do that. There are several ways to do that. You can either go in part design or you can go in part. In this video tutorial, I will use part. And over here, let's start with extrusion. To extrude text, simply select the text and then find over here extrude and click on extrude, and then let's specify the extrusion distance. So for example, let's go with, I don't know, let's say 4, for example, or 3, okay? And let's keep other things as default, and let's click on OK, and now you can see the text is extruded, and here it is. So you can do the right click and you can select some random color to make it more visible. Good. Next, let's learn how to engrave the other part. Next, let's learn how to engrave hello. To engrave hello text, first click on shape string and over here click on extrusion. Then for along, click on 0 and against, let's put 3. The 3 will be depth for our extrusion, That is, we want to go -3. And let's click on OK. And over here you will see our part. You can see how nicely it's being selected. Here it is. You don't see the complete part or the complete extrusion since it's covered by this body. However, if I click here, you will be able to see it. Okay, let's deselect this, and the next step is to perform a Boolean information. We want to subtract from this block, that is for our body, extrude 001. So let's learn how to do that. First of all, click on body, then click on extrude 001, and then over here click on Boolean. And then over here you have several options. We want to do the difference, and over here you need to select the operation. We want to subtract from body. That's why here we select body, and over here we need to select what we want to subtract. Let's click on apply, and let's click on close, and here we are. Voila! We were able to engrave hello, and that's it. Simple as that. And here's one additional, or better to say extra thing that I want to explain. Namely, if you go back to the draft menu, and if you start to modify the shapes, or better to say fonts, you can easily do that and you will see how everything is updated. Let's try to modify shape string 001. So double click here and let's change, for example, font. Let's select some other font, for example, this font. Let's click on OK, and you can see how everything is nicely changed. Let's try to do this for this part. You can click here, then let's click on basically extrude, double click here to get to the font, then let's click here and let's, for example, select anything else. So for example, we can select some other font, such as this font, and let's click on OK. And you can see how everything is nicely modified. Next, I will show you another approach to create text. This approach is slightly different. To explain the second approach, let's open a new document, and then over here, let's click on part design, let's create body. Over here, let's create a sketch, and let's select the XY plane, let's click on OK, and let's create a simple rectangle with the center over here, and here it is. Do the right click, click on close, then let's extrude this by clicking here, and let's leave it 10, and let's click on OK. Then let's go to draft, and over here in draft, let's again create text, click here, let's specify the distance to be, or Z distance to be 10, let's select again, select this point over here, and then again, let's specify 10 over here. Then let's select font. For example, we can use Times font, and let's type something, some text. And let's click on OK to see the text. Here it is. Let's move the text by clicking here, and we can move it. Oops, I didn't want this. I want to move the text. So I'll select this, and then let me click here, and let's move it here. Good. Let's place it over here. Now, the next thing you can do, instead of using part, you can go inside part design. Good. Then click here on model, then do the right click on shape string, and over here, click on Move Object to Other Body. Click here, and you can see that automatically body is recognized, and click OK. Now you can see that shape string is inside of our body, and we can do all sorts of things. If we want to do extrusion, we will simply click here on Pad, and we will be able to pad it for a certain value. For example, for, I don't know, 6, 7 millimeters or something similar, or 2. Length is too small, they're saying, okay, so let's increase this to something like this, and here we are. Good. Look how it looks. This is another way to extrude the text from the surface. Let's undo this. That is, let's do Control Z, and then let's create, for example, a pocket. Click on Shape String, and then over here, click on basically Pocket, and you will be able to create a pocket. As you can see over here, that is, in this way, you will be able to engrave the text. And click on OK, and here it is. So it's completely up to you to follow the approach you like. You can either use the approach based on part or part design. Okay, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.